We have a lot of patrons this week, so a large thank you to K1, Glenor, Alexis, Zigras, Brad, Edie, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Jacob, Peter, and David for their support on Patreon. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Good day, everybody. I hope your weekend was good. So we're going to mostly clue up the level up system this episode. So as you can see here, got a bit of a bug. It just kind of says minus 69 there when we open up the level up screen. So let's go to on enable right here. And this is on the level up UI script. And we're just going to simply add one line of code. We're actually going to call upon our update projected player level functionality, and that will fix our problem. Now next we're going to basically copy the logic here for this update health slider function. And all this does is basically it updates the slider value in the game and makes the text mimic the value after it's been updated. So if you move the health slider up, it'll move the projected health level up. Anyway, we're going to copy this and do it for every single stat. So that will be stamina, focus, poise, strength, dexterity, faith, and intelligence. And again, just to reiterate one time, basically every time we change the slider's value, and as you recall, its minimum value is set to the player's level when the screen opens. Its maximum value is 99. Whenever the level up screen is open and we change that value, it's just going to change the projected level text to match that value, so you know what you're leveling up to if you should confirm the level up screen after all the stats have been raised. So let's just do that, and this is one of those repetitive tasks where you can skip a little bit forward if you want to. I'm just going to talk over this while I do it. So again, all the stats that we have health, stamina, focus, poise, strength, dexterity, faith, and intelligence. Now, in this episode, we're also going to create a formula to a very simple one just to dictate, kind of just a random one to be honest with you, to kind of give a random cost for leveling up our souls. I strongly advise you really play around yourself with that formula and make your own and kind of balance it as you need to when your game develops. But right now, just for prototyping, I'm just going to put whatever on the screen just to show you that it works. You can mess with that if you'd like. So after we do that too, we're going to make an interactable object or character we can kind of interact with to open up our level up screen and then close it out and confirm our stats. And we'll have our stats basically be capable of being changed when we hit the confirmation button. And we will only be able to hit the confirmation button if we have enough souls. Okay, so now that we have all the sliders functionalities placed in, go to each individual stat up here. And what you're going to want to do is basically on value changed, add a parameter, put the level up window script there, and basically just put the specific slider to the specific stat. And by that I mean obviously the health slider is going to go with the health stat, the stamina slider goes with the stamina stat, etc., etc. And again, this is going to just basically allow us to change the slider, and it's going to calculate all of our new projected levels and update them on the screen. This is kind of like the same logic applied across, however many stats you have. So if you understand the logic for the health slider, then you're going to understand it for everything else. So I'm just going to keep going through this here now and drag it onto the strength slider and do the same thing. I know this is a bit repetitive for the UI, but unfortunately that is what it entails a lot of the time. A lot of the UI is going to be like this when we get into our inventory screens too. It's just kind of going to be a lot of the same thing, just with different names and classifications really. I'm just going to put that down there now. There we go. That is the dexterity slider, and I have the faith slider next. Click on that, and I will drag that down there. And then lastly, I have the intelligence slider, and then we're all done. Okay, there it is. Down here, open up intelligence, stat slider, on value changed, add, and drag that in. Okay, cool. So now that we have that done, let's jump back over into our level up screen script. And actually, I'm just going to play for a second. I just want to see if this works. Yes, okay. So as you can see, if we level up now, it changes our projected player's level. Perfect. And you can do this with all the stats just to test it. So you can see I'm raising health, stamina, focus, poise, strength, dexterity, faith, intelligence. You can see our player's projected level goes up, as well as the projected level of each of these individual stats. Just give them all a test to make sure you get them hooked up right. That looks perfect. Okay. There we go. Now I am going to jump back into the script here, and let's do a few more things. So first off, let's go all the way up here and just really up the top here, or up on top, wherever you want to put it. I'm going to make a new function. It's going to be public void, And I'm going to call it confirm player stats, or if you want to confirm player level up stats, just basically it's a confirmation that you're going to accept the levels that are on the screen and change your player's current stats to these stats. So I'm just going to put a comment here saying, updates the player's stats to the projected stats. Then I'm going to say providing they have enough souls. It's very simple. If you can basically confirm this, you have enough souls, you will change the stats to the stats that are on the screen. So I'm going to go and add a confirmation button under all of these stats. This will just be a thing you can basically hit to OK it. I'm not going to duplicate. I'm going to right click on the player stats and add a UI element of type button. I'm just going to size this to a point where it's not totally ugly. And I'm going to change the color a little bit, maybe make it gray. I'm going to call it confirm button. I'll just size up about that much. Let's go ahead and change the text to white and the button to gray. I don't think I have any sprites I can use, so I'll just kind of put it like, there we go. I didn't make a prototype button for the confirmation. When I did the other stat icons, I forgot. Okay, so let's change that to white, raise the text size so we can see it, and change the text from button to confirm. If you want to, you can say confirm stats. I'm going to make it bold too. Okay, that's very simple, and that will do. I'm going to change the colors a little bit. Actually, that's probably fine. Change the highlighted color and selected color to red so you can know when you have it highlighted and selected. Make sure it stands out and it's very apparent. Otherwise, you might not know when it's highlighted. And we're going to also have this disabled at some point too, so we can change the disabled color to black. First drag in your level up window. I think I didn't save it, so I need to let the script compile again. One sec, the function doesn't appear to be here. There we go. So hit that again, level up, and confirm player level up stats, just like that. So back in here now in the level up UI, I am going to make a public button variable. I'm going to call it confirm level up button. And then I'm going to drag that in there in a bit. But first I'm going to come down here. And under the update projected player level, we have to do a couple things. We got to check and see if we have the souls when we update the level. So every time we update, we want to see if we have enough souls. So we're going to say if current souls is less than souls required to level up, confirmation level up button. I can't remember if this is enabled or interactable. I want to say it's interactable, but we'll try enabled first. I think I'm mistaken though. And we're just going to say else, and I'm going to copy what's going on here. Oh, that is text, right? So we have to actually make a integer variable for souls required to level up, and we can take the current souls from our player stats script that's already there. So if you want to, you can make a variable on this class for that too, but I'm just going to grab it from the player. So I'm going to put int souls required to level up, and I'm going to name change the souls required to level up here to souls required to level up text. And I'm going to change current souls to current souls text so it doesn't get confusing. If I'm quickly glancing over the names, I don't confuse one for an integer. Okay, that looks perfect. Now I'm going to come back down here. I'm going to change current souls text to, oh, nope, supposed to get player stats dot. Do we have current souls? Do we not have a current souls variable? I feel like we made one. I guess not though. All right, let's go to the character stats manager and open it up. Maybe I called it something else. I should have called it souls though. Ah, it's called soul count. Okay, so let's get that dot soul count. You know what? Just to keep the naming conventions the same, I'm gonna, because we have current stamina, current health, current focus points. I'm just gonna call it current soul count. There we go. Okay, so if player stats manager dot current soul count is less than the souls required to level up, then we know we don't want the player to be able to confirm and level up. Otherwise, they're cheating the system. So false. Else, if it's not and you have more than is needed, then switch this to true. Okay, save that. And now on the confirm player level stats function, let's just basically change all the values to the projected values. So by that I mean the player stats manager.player level is now going to equal the projected player level. The player stats manager.health level is now going to equal the health slider's value, but we're going to have to round that. So we're going to say mathf.round to int. We're going to say health slider.value. And do this with every single stat. And again, all this does is it changes the player stats from what they currently were to what the projected level says they're going to be. So you're effectively changing them when you level up. Now, when you're also done punching in all these values, don't forget to call upon the max health, max stamina, and max focus points formula, because otherwise you're going to have less health when you leave the screen. Let's say you start off with level 10 health and you level up to level 25. you want to basically max out your health again. Otherwise, you'll still have the HP count from when you were 10 health, but you have the max health of someone who's level 25 health. So call upon that again and set those to their max values after you level up. I think we need to move those formulas to the character stats base class because they can be used for enemies as well. And I think right now they're private, so we have to make them public. So I'm just going to finish up now with this and punch in the faith and intelligence here, and then we can check that out. Also, autocomplete on Visual Studios, if you guys have not updated yet, you do it. It is so convenient. Like, you just press tab. It's really good at predicting a lot of things, especially when you get repetitive things like this. Sometimes it messes it up, but most of the times it's really good. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is, just as I said now, I'm going to see first if we can actually call upon the max health formula. So I'll just make a space, player stats manager, excuse me, dot max health is equal to player stats manager dot, yeah, okay, so I don't think we can, I think I call it max health or set max health. Let's check this out. So it's not in the character stats manager, but it should be. I think when we made these base classes, we made the formula for calculating your max health a long time ago. I don't think we changed it when we made the base classes. So come to the player stats manager, and let's go down here and minimize the start and the awake and the okay, here we go. Set max health from health formula, and it is private. So copy set max health, set max stamina, and set max focus points. Copy all of that, and then paste it under the character stats base class. And after we paste it there, make it public, because this is something you can use for if you actually want to have it so your enemies actually calculate their health based off their health level, and this is where it needs to be. And if you're using stamina with them, the same thing, or focus points or whatever. Okay, so back here, and then we're just going to say player stats manager dot, if we type in max, it should say set max health from health level, yes. And there we go. Do the same thing here. And do the same thing for stamina and your focus points. Okay, that's good. And now finally our focus points. Now by the end of this video, you're going to have all the functionality to have a complete level up screen and everything will be working. We're going to come back to it later for some polish elements to do a couple more things or fix a couple of things that are on the rough side, but everything will be there when we're done this video in terms of it actually functioning and changing your player's level. Okay, so now that that is good to go, I am going to, whoops, not do that, minimize this, and then under the confirm player level stats, I'm going to make a private void called calculate soul cost to level up. And this is just going to basically spit back out a value. And if you don't meet the value, then we're going to call this at the top of this right here, calculate soul cost level up. If you don't meet the value, then you're not going to be able to level up because it will make the level up button uninteractable. So let's make a private int. Actually, let's make a public int for base level up cost. I'm just going to say it's 5. I made it public so you can change it in the inspector. You can use serialized field if you want. I'm going to make a for loop, and I'm going to change this value to basically projected player level. And inside here, I'm going to say souls required to level up equals souls required to level up plus mathf round to int. We'll say projected player level times base level up costs, and then we can times that by a random number on the outside. So like, I don't know, 1.5, we'll say. That just makes it a bit harder every time. So you'll see a small increase in the amount you will need after every level. And this is fine. This is just me just giving you a random value. You can make this whatever you want. I'm just doing this for the demonstration and the prototype purpose. So that's cool. That's all well and good. Then right below here, let's actually update the values on the UI screen. So we'll say souls required to level up text equals souls required to level up to string. And we should be checking for the player's current souls too. So we'll say, whoops, I can't spell today. Current souls text equals player stats current soul amounts to string. And that looks good. Okay, so now down here, I think I put something in the wrong place. Not the wrong place, but one second. Change it to black so we know when it's uninteractable. But I think I've used the wrong statement here. So come down to current souls and drag it into current souls text and projected souls in the projected souls text. And I'm just going to rename this to souls needed to level up so it's not confusing. The naming conventions are different from what the variable's name is. I don't want that. Okay. And now I'm going to go down and drag in the confirm button. And yeah, I just hit play. It's not what we're supposed to say. Also, put souls required to level up is equal to 0 here. So basically it resets every time we're updating the player's level and the calculation can begin again. And then we're going to need to put this right here below these stats. That's important. So down here, this needs to come last. The order does matter here. And save that. Okay, and this is not enabled. This is supposed to be interactable. I just noticed that when I tried to test it. And down here, the same thing. Now it should be fine. So let's save that. Okay. Let's go over and give our player some souls. So current soul count, I'm just going to say 8,500. Just so we can test. And now if I press play, there we go, 8,500. And I can confirm because I have more than is required to level up. And if I keep going and keep going and keep going, let's go right on past, there we go. 8,000, yeah, the button does not let me hit it. Now, I realize that if you enter the screen with 0 souls, you're kind of stuck. We'll come back after we do some polish and make it so if your soul count is 0, you can still leave the screen. Because right now the only way to leave it is to press confirm. But this is something that's very simple to do. I'm just here to show you the logic itself. And as you can see, it has changed our levels when we hit confirm. Our health level and stamina level and player level have gone up. So let's go, and I made this guy here called the Firekeeper. I'm going to give him the tag for interactable because I'm going to use an interactable script to actually open the level up screen for now until we do dialogues. So I'm going to make a script called level up interactable. This is kind of temporary because eventually when we get into dialogues, we'll have menus open up when you talk to NPCs. But for now, namespace SG. I'm going to make this derived from the interactable class. So it has an interactable text and an area radius. There we go, looks good. And I'm going to override the regular interactable function here. Now, I'm going to try to reference my UI manager from the player manager. I'm not sure if we have that there. Player manager dot player UI. Is it called player UI manager or UI manager? Because I don't think we renamed that when we did the whole renaming episode. I think that was the one thing we didn't touch. Okay, so I don't see it here. Let's add it as a variable because we're going to call everything the player manager from now on because it's just way easier to call it off in one location. All right, so public player UI manager. No, I didn't call it player. I guess it's probably just called UI manager if I'm willing to bet. Let's just try that. Public UI manager. There it is. Okay, cool. So I'm going to call it an awake by saying UI manager equals find object of type UI manager. Now, we need to also make a variable on the UI manager for the level up screen so we can hide it at will. So let's go to the UI manager. Let's go to UI windows here, and there's header, and we can make a public game object level up screen or level up window, whatever you want to call it. And let's drag that in. I'm going to call it level up window to match the naming conventions. And then I will drag it in there. And we're going to use a very simple line of code under the interact thing. It's giving me an error right now. It's complaining, so I can't drag in the variable. So player UI manager.level up window.set active is equal to true. Because we want to open up when we interact. And then we hit confirm and it closes it. So this is just a very, very simple way of testing this right now because, as I said, in the future, we're going to make a dialog system and a window check system. All that good stuff. So let's go over to the level up window here and drag that in. There we go. Okay, now let's open up our script again. And over here on the, where am I going? Level up UI. I am going to go over here to the confirm player level up stats function. And right below that, I'm going to say game object.set active equals false. And that should set the same game object false as the one we're opening up on the UI manager. So that's fine. Okay, and on enable down here, I think we're good there actually. Let's make a button for the health. Actually, no, we made a script to automatically select the health slider in the last video. I forgot. Disregard that. You don't need to do this. I'm just checking my notes to make sure. Yeah, okay, it's there. So yeah, delete that. We don't need that. Ignore that. Okay, so next, let's just go over now and make sure that the souls are displaying properly. And let's change the interaction text to level up. Again, this is a temporary feature, but I just want to make sure this is working. If I start the game here now, oh, okay, so my souls aren't displaying in the HUD, the bottom right corner. So let's make a public text That's funny. We're not using UnityEngine.ui on the UI manager. That's hilarious. So let's call upon using UnityEngine.ui. Let's make a public text for soul count. And we're basically going to want to update that on start. So let's erase player inventory manager. This is one of the scripts that avoided our refactor. And we're going to call the player inventory manager from the player manager. And we'll get the player manager on awake using find object. So anywhere where you see player inventory manager in the script, it's called player inventory. It's way back when. Just make sure you put player manager dot player inventory manager. So right here, for example, I'm going to say player manager dot player stats manager. I'm sorry, I'm going to say soul count text dot text equals player manager dot player stats manager dot soul count or current soul count. So when your UI manager opens up first, it will basically just pass along the proper soul count to be displayed on your HUD in the bottom right corner. And right here where it says player inventory, we're going to say player manager dot player inventory manager. This was so long ago we had that variable called player inventory, not player inventory manager. So we haven't touched the UI in quite a long time, as you can see. We're going to really dig into that now. But next up is the character creation screen, and after that it's UI and UI polish. So we're going to have a nice looking project in terms of all the menus and stuff real soon. Okay, just here on these just click any area you have. You're going to get a couple on the UI manager most likely, and just change this from player inventory. It's player manager dot player inventory manager, and you're good to go. Okay, now let's press play, and the soul count is still not displayed. All right, I didn't drag in the variable on the UI. Make sure you drag in your soul count text to the soul count variable down there. And now if I press play, we have the proper soul count. It's all well and good. And I'm going to go over here now and go to the level up dummy, the firekeeper. Open up the menu. That works. And then I'm going to raise my levels. And then I'm going to hit confirm. And if I open it up again, my old projected levels should be the new starting levels after I hit confirm. So there we go. It should be 15, 15, 13, 12, whatever. So come back, open up again. And there we go. It is. And it works just fine. Now, if you want to play around with the math and stuff, we're going to come back and make a couple of polish elements, such as, for example, not being able to see this level up interactable box while the screen is open, just small things like that. But now, guys, you do have a fully functioning level up system, and I'm sure this is way more than enough to get many of you going on what you probably wanted to get started with. Small things like, polish and checking to see if other windows are open and stuff. We're going to come back to that in a UI video. And now in the next video, we're going to start the character creation screen. And just real quick here, guys, I forgot to detract the souls when we're done leveling up. So right here under confirm player level up stats, I'm just going to say player stats manager.current soul count equals player stats manager.current soul count minus souls required to level up. Now also the formula we use is not exactly souls-like. I haven't actually broken that down yet. So we can actually change that later to make it more Souls-like. And I'm also going to get rid of the player stats manager and call upon the player manager. And I'm just going to basically say player manager dot player stats manager. And the reason why I have to do this is because, well, we call upon all of our character variables through the player manager. That's kind of our convention. But also it's because I need to call upon the UI manager. And if I'm going to do that, I might as well get both the player stats manager and the UI manager from the player manager. And the reason why I need to call upon the UI manager is because after we're done leveling up our character, we have to update the souls HUD piece in the bottom right to the player's current souls. So you can fast forward through this if you want. There's only a minute of this. Just going down to every player stats variable and putting player manager.player stats. But basically, yeah, right now our level up formula, it does not behave like Dark Souls or 3 or Dark Souls 1 or Dark Souls 2. It's just something I did at random. So if you guys would like to see me attempt to break down, I guess, the formula for Dark Souls 3 or 1 or 2, I can do that. But this was, again, just for demonstration purposes. So it will not behave like the leveling up system in Dark Souls. It's just going to give you a cost. If you meet the cost, it will allow you to level up. And if you don't meet the cost, it will not allow you to level up. Just purely for the prototype purposes. So once that is all done, I'm just going to go in here and right where it says confirm player level up stats, say player manager dot, and then I'm going to say UI manager dot soul count dot text is going to be equal to player stats manager dot soul count to string. And I need to move the location of one other thing too, or else we're going to get some weird behavior in how it updates. So I think I did this under calculate cost for leveling up. First, let's drag in the player here in the player manager in that variable. Then come over here to the calculate soul cost level up. I'm just going to get rid of these two things here. I'm going to put them in different places. So I'm going to open up the on enable, and I'm going to update the current souls on enable. So we'll get our current souls text here from the player stats manager.current soul count to string on the enable. And then here on update projected player level, right after we call upon the calculate soul cost level up, I'm just going to say souls required to level up text.text is equal to souls required to level up dot to string. And we're going to save that. And just to show you and give you something kind of like a general direction on what you can do to expand upon this, this is my level up screen for my solo project. You can kind of put in the current hit points there. That is calculated from your health level. You can display that. You can display your stamina, your focus points. You can display random bonuses that you get from leveling up certain stats, etc., etc. These are things I can cover in the future if you'd like, but we're going to move on to the character creation screen next. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to drop a like, leave a comment. It genuinely helps my videos out so much. If you're feeling a super champion, check out my Patreon below. A large thank you to my patrons as always. It's because of you guys I get to keep doing this. So I will see you guys in the next episode, which will be a character creation screen episode, which might be its own mini-series. So be on the lookout for that. It will still count as a Dark Souls episode, but it might be put in its own thing in its own playlist. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one.